First at 5, an Oregon serial rapist is set to be released from prison after more than 30 years behind bars. Richard Gilmore, dubbed the Jogger Rapist, will be classified as a low-level sex offender when he gets out, and that has some of his victims up in arms. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Mulco. Tim Gordon is in Tigard this evening. Tim, you spoke to one of Gilmore's victims. What did she tell you?
Well, she says the system that evaluates sex offenders for reoffending, the risk of that, is broken in Oregon, and she puts the blame on the governor and past legislatures. She and a victims' rights group want them to fix it. There are 3 levels for sex offenders, and convicted rapist Richard Gilmore is set to be released from state prison on December 16th as a level 1, or lowest risk offender. That means the state won't automatically be notifying neighbors of Gilmore's presence, which right now is set to be transitional housing in Portland's Old Town area. At a media gathering organized by Crime Victims United of Oregon, the message was clear: that's not okay.
What makes me angry now is the fact that we think it's acceptable that he is a level 1, because he is not. He is a very vicious and brutal serial rapist.
Danielle Tudor was one of Gilmore's victims, raped inside her Southeast Portland home in 1979 at the age of 17. She is one of 9 female victims the so-called Jogger Rapist admitted to attacking. Because of statute of limitations rules at the time, Gilmore was convicted of only 1 rape of a 13-year-old girl in 1986. Now that Gilmore is close to serving his sentence, Crime Victims United President Steve Dole says Governor Brown needs to act with an emergency temporary rule that will reassess Richard Gilmore as a high-risk sex offender until the legislature can fix a system that would give Gilmore a pass.
13 years that we're flailing around with no system to deal with these sex offenders.
Currently, the parole board uses a system based on a 10-question form to help decide the level of risk for a sex offender to reoffend. But Dole says the legislature passed a bill in 2013 to improve the system, and it's never been done.
I've heard so many politicians out there say, we're all for, protecting women and children and the community. And my reply to that right now is your chance.
An emotional issue for sex assault victims brought to a head with the pending release of Richard Gilmore.
If that is our level 1, I would really like to know what our level 3 is. Because I can't imagine anyone worse than Richard Gilmore.
I did speak with the executive director of the parole board in Oregon today. He expressed empathy for the victims, but he also said the system that Oregon is using right now is used widely throughout the country and the world. He also says Gilmore will be on post-prison supervision when he gets out until 2034. Also reached out to the governor's office today, have not heard back. Back to you.
Tim Gordon in Tigard this evening. Thank you, Tim. Let's bring an update now on a voyeurism case in the Vancouver School District. Police have arrested 38-year-old James Matson on 137 counts of voyeurism. Investigators say initial findings relate to videos they allege are recorded in women's staff bathrooms at Skyview High School. These go as far back, they say, as 2013. You might remember we first reported on this case last week with allegations that a Vancouver district employee recorded girls in their locker room at Alki Middle School. Investigators say additional charges may be possible and that the employee had access to other buildings in the district.
Newly released body camera video is showing what happened when a woman started shooting at 2 Gladstone police officers in her house. Yvette Garcia was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday. The shooting happened in November of last year. Garcia was pulled over and had a warrant out of Texas. Before going to jail, the officers went with Garcia to take her 2 dogs to animal control. Garcia and one of the officers were trying to get a leash on one of the dogs when Garcia grabbed a handgun from her bedroom. She was able to shoot the officer in the leg, even though she was in handcuffs.
Hey.
You all right? She got a gun? 1 9 shots fired!
That's breathtaking. That's hard to watch. This led to a shootout, and Garcia was hit multiple times in the torso. The officer who was shot has permanent damage and has left the Gladstone Police Department.
We have some new details this evening on the pending lawsuit against the city of Portland over homeless camps on the city sidewalks. A group of people with mobility disabilities say in many cases they are blocking ADA access. So here is the update. Through court records, we have learned that in 2021, the county handed out 6,500 tents and 27,000 tarps to the homeless. The lawyers behind the lawsuit are arguing that these tents could be the very ones that are making it now nearly impossible, they argue, for people with mobility disabilities to safely get around. So here is what the plaintiff's attorney had to say.
Which we think the county may have foreseen would find their way onto the sidewalks, which is the very reason my clients are suing the city. And so it places us in an awful situation where Multnomah County supplies the tents, which the city sweeps. Go figure.
All right, so we heard from the city mayor. Ted Wheeler told KGW via email he cannot comment on pending litigation, but that homelessness is his top priority and he understands the frustration. The city attorney, by the way, has asked for specific locations where ADA access is being blocked so they can clear them.
Portland is getting ready for a presidential visit, and you may have noticed fences going up in downtown. Today, workers were installing them in the area of Southwest 6th and Taylor. That's ahead of President Biden's visit to Portland tomorrow. He's expected to land around 6:30 tomorrow night and go to a volunteer event with Oregon Democrats just after 7. Portland police say to expect delays on major city roads tomorrow afternoon and evening. MAX and bus service will be disrupted as well. Then on Saturday, the president will appear at a campaign event for Tina Kotek, the Democratic candidate for Oregon governor.
Always a big deal when Air Force One is in town, twice in 1 year, right? This evening, we are seeing the fallout from a drop in foot traffic in some Portland neighborhoods, and that includes, according to one business owner, the Pearl District. The owner of the fitness studio Bar 3 says that means she has now decided to temporarily suspend operations at what used to be her flagship location. Brian Clerkley is here now. Brian, any idea how long this is going to last?
Hey, David. Owner Sadie Lincoln says she's going to continue to watch the foot traffic in the area. She doesn't know when the Pearl location will open again, but after 2 years of struggling during the pandemic, it doesn't seem like people are coming back to the Pearl. But her other studios in other parts of the city are packed with people. It's a packed house at Bar 3 on North Williams Avenue in Portland. Bar is a combination of ballet exercises, Pilates, weights, and yoga. Owner and co-founder Sadie Lincoln opened her first studio in 2008 in the Pearl District. She wishes it was this busy, but she says there's been a 50% decline in foot traffic in the Pearl, once her busiest location. Things have changed a lot.
We just announced to our beloved clients that we're pausing classes for the time being at the Pearl. We have lowest foot traffic we've ever had, highest rent.
Lincoln owns several other studios in the metro area, and Bar 3 grew wildly in the 10 years since reaching to 175 franchise locations around the U.S., Japan, Canada, and the Philippines. With celebrity clients and millions of social media followers, Lincoln says the locations in other areas of the city, like this one on North Williams, are doing very well. But the perception of crime and homelessness downtown could be keeping people away.
I haven't experienced that in that Pearl location. It's, still got the beautiful teak boardwalk, beautiful condos, and a thriving community that lives there. It's just in a depressed state.
People who live in the Pearl say they've noticed the neighborhood has not made a great comeback post-pandemic.
I've been going to the gym just up the street here for over 20 years. I've been going to that gym, and I can tell you it's never been this light on the number of members there.
Lincoln wants to continue to encourage people to come back to the Pearl. She's working with the out-of-state landlord to get the rent down, but that's been challenging. Lincoln says once foot traffic goes up, they can open again.
We really are stronger together, and I think all of us together need to bring the Pearl back, and I believe we can do it because our community is so strong.
And Sadie says she will continue to try and get the landlord who's out of Ohio to lower the rent.